evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Laine Gillespie, and I'm the director of tonight's reading of Selected Sonnets by Shakespeare. These online sessions were first started by Samantha Davidson Green at Parish Players, and they're intended for the purpose of simple enjoyment and fellowship during quarantine. And now to tonight's readings. Shakespeare himself was certainly no stranger to plague during his lifetime. Though the sonnets were not written during the bubonic plague outbreaks of 1592, 1603, and 1606, other of his works presumably were, such as King Lear, Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and many others. The sonnets are Shakespeare's most popular works, and a few of them have become the most widely read poems in all of English literature. Although love is the overriding theme in all of the 154 sonnets, there are three specific underlying themes. First one is how brief life is. The second one is how fleeting beauty is. And the third is love and desire. The earlier sonnets give us insights into the thoughts of a young man as he ponders the issues of life and immortality. Then from 127 on, that marks the beginning of a very passionate and sexual affair with a woman known as the Dark Lady. Just a few housekeeping items. Unless you're reading a sonnet, please keep yourself muted at all times. Right now I have you all muted, and so the only way you'll be able to speak is if you unmute yourself. But please stay muted throughout the entire event if you're not reading. Otherwise, you'll end up being in the center of our presentation, and we'll ask you to do an impromptu version of something if you're not a reader. In case you need to share something with us, like you suddenly can't hear or something else, please either use the chat bubble at the bottom of your screen or raise your hand using the raising hand icon. I'm recording tonight's readings, and the reading can be sent to anyone who desires to get it. I'm going to give you the Parish Players listserv in a minute, and that's where you can get it from. Upcoming online events that are being discussed include selective monologues and soliloquies by Shakespeare, and also a reading of children's stories. Announcements of these events will come through the Parish Players listserv. If you're interested in participating in those or proposing an idea for another Zoom session, or if you, as I already said, are interested in getting a recording of tonight's readings, please drop a note to Pancho, that's P-A-N-C-H-O, at parishplayers.org. Tonight's readers either live now or used to live in the Upper Valley. Our first reader is Jim Hughes. Take it away, Jim. Thank you.
I'm Jim Hughes, and this is our first reading, and it is sonnet number 18.
Jim, we cannot see. Is it possible for you to make yourself visible?
I don't know how I made myself invisible, but does that help?
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sonnet number 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
My name is Betsy Durkee, and I'll be reading sonnet number 23. As an imperfect actor on the stage who, with his fear, is put besides his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart, so I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, overcharged with burden of mine own love's might. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and dumb presagers of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense, more than that tongue that hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ, to hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
I'm Kay Morton, and I'll be reading Sonnet 25. Let those who are in favor with their stars of public honor and proud titles boast, whilst I, whom fortunate of such triumph bars, unlooked for joy in that I honor most. Great princes, favorites, their fair leaves spread, but as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves their pride lies buried, for at a frown they in their glory die. The painful warrior, famoused for might after 1,000 victories once foiled, is from the book of honor razed quite, and all the rest forgot for which he toiled. Then happy I that love and am beloved, where I may not remove nor be removed.
Always nice to follow my wife, John. My name is Mike Backman, and this is sonnet number 27. Oh, weary with toil, I haste me to my bed. The dear repose for limbs with travel, tired. Oh. But then begins a journey in my head to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts from far where I abide intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keeping my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see, save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night makes black night beauteous and her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself no quiet find.
I am Sheila Kaplow. And I'm going to read Sonnet 28. How can I then return in happy plight, that am debarred the benefit of rest, when day's oppression is not eased by night, but day by night and night by day oppressed, and each, though enemies to either's reign, do in consent shake hands to torture me. the one by toil, the other to complain. How far I toil, still farther off from thee. I tell the day, to please him thou art bright, and dost him grace when clouds do blot the heaven. So flatter I the swart-complexioned night, when sparkling stars twire not, thou gilt'st the even. But day doth daily draw my sorrows longer, and night doth nightly make grief's length seem stronger.
My name is Katie Kitchel, and I will be reading. I dedicate this reading to the memory of my friend Ed Winchester. When to the sessions of sweet, silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then I can drown an eye unused to flow for friends precious hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of for bemoaned moan which I knew pay, as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end.
I'm Steve Cornish, and this is Sonnet 34. Oh, why didst thou promise such a beauteous day, and make me travel forth without my cloak, to let base clouds o'ertake me in my way, hiding thy bravery in their rotten smoke? 'Tis not enough that through the cloud thou break, to dry the rain on my storm-beaten face. For no man well of such a salve can speak, that heals the wound and cures not the disgrace. Nor can thy shame give physic to my grief. Though thou repent, yet I have still the loss. The offender's sorrow lends but weak relief to him that bears the strong offence's cross. Ah, but those tears are pearl which thy love sheds, and they are rich and ransom all ill deeds.
I'm John Morton, and I'm reading Sonnet 37. As a decrepit father takes delight to see his active child do deeds of youth, so I made lame by fortune's dearest spite, take all my comfort from thy worth and truth. For whatever beauty, birth, or wealth, or wit, or any of these all, or more, entitled in thy parts do crowned sit, I make my love engrafted to this store. So then I am not lame, poor, nor despised, while that this shadow doth such substance give, that I in thy abundance am sufficed, and by a part of all thy glory live. Look what is best, that best I wish in thee. This wish I have, then 10 times happy me.
Hi, I'm Danielle Cohen, and I'm reading Sonnet number 55. Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme. but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone, besmeared with sluttish time. When wasteful war shall statues overturn, and broils root out the work of masonry, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory. 'Gainst death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth. Your praise shall still find room, even in the eyes of all posterity that wear this world out to the ending doom. So, till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this, and dwell in lovers' eyes.
My name is Marilyn Roberts, and I will read Sonnet 60. Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end, each changing place with that which goes before. In sequent toil all forwards do contend. Nativity, once in the main of light, crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned, crooked eclipses 'gainst his glory fight, and time that gave doth now his gift confound. Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth, and delves the parallels in beauty's brow, feeds on the rarities of nature's truth, and nothing stands but for his scythe to mow. And yet to times, in hope my verse shall stand, praising thy worth despite his cruel hand.
Hello, my name is Mark Rosalbo, and I'll be reading sonnet number 66. Tired with all these, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert, a beggar born, and needing nothing, trimmed in jollity and purest faith unhappily forsworn. And gilded honor, shamefully misplaced, and maiden virtue rudely strumpeted, and right perfection wrongfully disgraced, and strength by limping sway disabled, and art made tongue-tied by authority, and folly doctor-like controlling skill, and simple truth miscalled simplicity, and captive good attending captain ill. Tired with all these, from these would I be gone, save that to die. I leave my love alone.
I am Pat Langile, and I'm reading Sonnet 71. No longer mourn for me when I'm dead. Then you shall hear the surly, sullen bell give warning to the world that I am fled from this vile world, with vilest worms to dwell. Nay, if you read this line, remember not the hand that read it, for I love you so that I, in your sweet thoughts, would be forgot, if thinking on me then should make you woe. Oh, if, I say, you look upon this verse, when I perhaps compounded am with clay, do not so much as my poor name rehearse, but let your love, even with my life, decay, lest the wise world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I'm gone.
My name is Laine Gillespie, and I will be reading Sonnet 73. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare, ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after the sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away. Death's second self, that seals up all in rest. In me, thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long.
My name is Kate McGill, and I will be reading Sonnet 98. From you have I been absent in the spring, when proud-pied April, dressed in all his trim, hath put a spirit of youth in everything, that heavy Saturn laughed and leaped with him. Yet nor the lays of birds, nor the sweet smell of different flowers in odor and in hue could make me any summer story tell, or from their proud lap pluck them where they grew. Nor did I wonder at the lily's white, nor praise the deep vermilion in the rose. They were but sweet, but figures of delight, drawn after you. You pattern all of those. Yet seemed it winter still, and you away, as with your shadow I with these did play.
Hi, I'm Terry Samwick, and this is Sonnet 107. Not mine own fears, nor the prophetic soul of the wide world dreaming on things to come, yet control to a divine doom. Mortal moon hath her eclipse endured, and the sad augurs mock their own presage. Uncertainties now crown themselves assured, and peace proclaims olives of endless age. Now, with the drops of this most balmy time, my love looks fresh, and death to me subscribes, since, spite of him, I'll live in this poor rhyme, while he insults or dullens speechless tribes. And thou in this shalt find thy monument, when tyrants' crests and tombs of brass are spent.
My name is Julianna Czum, and I will be reciting Sonnet 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool. Though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come, love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
Hi, my name is Anthony Helm, and I'm reading Sonnet 128. How oft when thou, my music playest, upon that blessed wood whose motion sounds, with thy sweet fingers, when thou gently swayest, the wiry concord that mine ear confounds. Do I envy those jacks that nimble leap to kiss the tender inward of thy hand, whilst my poor lips would should that harvest reap at the wood's boldness by thee blushing stand. To be so tickled, they would change their state and situation with those dancing chips, o'er which thy fingers walk with gentle gait, making dead wood more blessed than living lips. Since saucy jacks so happy are in this, give them thy fingers, and me thy lips to kiss.
Hi, I'm Bill Chappelle. I'll be reading sonnet number 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied, with false compare.
George Spencer, Sonnet 135. Whoever hath her wish, thou hast thy will, and will to boot, and will in overplus. More than enough am I that vex thee still to thy sweet will, making addition thus. Wilt thou, whose will is large and spacious, not once vouchsafe to hide my will in thine? Shall will in others seem right gracious, and in my will no fair acceptance shine? The sea, all water, yet receives rain still, and in abundance addeth to his store. So thou, being rich in will, add to thy will one will of mine to make thy large will more. Let no unkind, no fair beseecher kill. Think all but one, and me in that one will.
Thank you, George, and thanks to all of our readers for tonight. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. If everybody who attended tonight would like to have a copy of what you saw this evening, please write the following email: Poncho, that's P as in Paul, A, N as in Nancy, C as in Charles, H-O, at Parish Players, that's all one string, .org. Everyone have a nice evening, and we're going to go ahead and end this evening's event.